You know that feeling when you're standing in a garden? It just feels so wild, right? So beautifully chaotic. Like everything's just growing wherever it wants. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? That underneath all that beautiful chaos, there's a blueprint, a hidden mathematical code that's telling every single leaf, every petal where to go. Well, today we're going to crack that code. And we'll start with the simplest clue you can imagine.
You know, Galileo figured this out centuries ago. He said nature is written in the language of math. And he was absolutely right. Nature has a language, and it's all about numbers and patterns. And look, this isn't just some neat little fact. This language, it's more like a survival manual written by evolution over millions of years. And today, we're going to learn how to read it.
Okay, so where do we even start looking for this hidden code? We're going to start with something super basic. Counting. Yeah, that's it. We're just going to count flower petals. It sounds almost too simple, I know. But trust me, you're about to see a pattern show up that is anything but random. All right, let's take a look at this gorgeous iris. A total classic, right? Go ahead, count them. 1, 2, 3 petals. The number 3. You're going to see that one a lot in the flower world. Just tuck that number away for a second. Okay, next up, a delphinium. If you count its petals, yep, you get 5, another super common number. So first we had 3, now we've got 5. You starting to feel a little something? A little pattern maybe? Let's keep going. Let's add a cosmos into the mix. And here we find 8 petals. So our list of numbers is now 3, 5, 8. There's definitely something going on between these numbers, right? A relationship is starting to form. And for our last one, for now, check out the cineraria. This one gives us 13 petals. And this isn't a coincidence. The pattern just keeps going. You'll find black-eyed Susans with 21, some daisies with 34. These exact numbers, they just keep showing up again and again.
So, what is it? 3, 5, 8, 13. What's the rule here? What's the secret that connects all these numbers? Just think about it for a sec. How do you get from one number to the next one in the list?
It's the Fibonacci sequence. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's actually really simple. Each number is just the sum of the 2 that came right before it. So 3 plus 5, that's 8. 5 plus 8, 13. Bam! This sequence is like one of nature's absolute favorite building blocks. But that just leads to the real question, right? Why?
And this is where things get really interesting. We have to shift how we're thinking about this. See, evolution doesn't care about making pretty patterns for us to look at. Nope. This math serves a deep biological purpose. It's a master plan for survival. And it all comes down to one single thing: efficiency.
And this number, this is the key to everything, 137.5 degrees. This is called the golden angle. It's this super precise angle that comes from the famous golden ratio, phi, which the Fibonacci sequence gets closer and closer to. And believe it or not, nature uses this exact angle to solve one of its biggest, most fundamental problems.
So what's that big problem? Well, it's pretty simple. How do you grow without blocking your own light? Think about it. As a plant puts out new leaves, it rotates each new one by that golden angle. And what you get is this perfect, beautiful spiral where no new leaf ever completely shades the one right below it. It is the absolute best way to give every single leaf the most access to sunlight. It's genius.
So the takeaway here is huge. This mathematical rule isn't just neat, it gives plants a massive evolutionary advantage. It means the best sun exposure, which means more energy. It lets a sunflower pack the absolute maximum number of seeds into its head with zero wasted space. It's literally the ultimate code for growing efficiently. But okay, nature's blueprint isn't just about numbers. It goes way deeper, into geometry. The Fibonacci sequence, that's just one tool in nature's toolkit. There's another one that you see absolutely everywhere once you know what you're looking for. And that's the fractal.
So what is a fractal?
It's basically a pattern that just keeps repeating itself, no matter how close you zoom in or how far you zoom out. The best way to get it is to just picture a tree, right? A big branch coming off the trunk. It kind of looks like a tiny version of the whole tree. And then a little twig off that branch. It looks like a mini version of the branch. That's it. That's self-similarity. And I promise you, once you start looking for this, you will see fractals everywhere. That perfect repeating pattern on a fern frond, that's a fractal. The crazy spiraling cones of Romanesco broccoli, total fractal. Even the little veins spreading through a leaf to get water to every cell. They're all using this exact same super efficient space-filling logic to build themselves and to thrive.
Okay, so we've got plants using numbers to count and fractals to branch out. But what about filling a space? I mean, how does nature cover a surface perfectly, with absolutely no gaps, while using the least amount of material possible? What's the best shape for the job?
The answer? It's the hexagon. Now, sure, other shapes like triangles and squares can cover a surface without gaps, but the hexagon, it does it with the shortest possible border. For a honeybee, that is a huge deal. It means they can build the strongest possible honeycomb using the least amount of precious, energy-draining wax. It's just what nature does. It always finds the most efficient solution.
And you see this amazing hexagon efficiency all over the place, from the compound eyes of an insect to the way lava cools and cracks into these giant basalt columns. But what about more irregular patterns? Well, nature's got another clever trick for that. It creates these little zones, these cells, where every single point inside is closer to its own center than to any other center. You see this closest neighbor logic in the skin of a pineapple, or even in the cracks that form in drying mud. It's just another beautiful, incredibly efficient solution to a geometry problem.
So, we've talked numbers, we've talked angles, we've talked shapes, but so what? Why does any of this matter to you as a gardener or a farmer? Well, here's why. Because once you can see the blueprint, you can actually start to read the story your plants are telling you. And this is the real payoff. This is the practical stuff. You can use that specific leaf arrangement, that phyllotaxis we talked about, to help you identify a plant. You can prune way smarter because now you get the fractal logic of how it's going to branch out. And maybe most importantly, you can spot stress. A perfect spiral is a healthy plant. But a disruption, a little glitch in that pattern, that's your plant telling you something went wrong. Maybe drought, maybe pests, maybe a problem in the soil. The math, it's like a health report for your garden.
You could even take this a step further and use it in your actual landscape design. That golden ratio, the one that's behind all of this math, turns out is just naturally pleasing to the human eye. So next time you're laying out a garden bed, try for a ratio of about 1 to 1.6. So if a bed is, say, 5 feet wide, it'll feel really balanced and beautiful if it's about 8 feet long. You're literally using nature's own design rules to make your garden even more beautiful.
So the next time you walk through a garden, your own or anyone else's, don't just see a bunch of pretty plants. Look closer. Really look. Count the petals. Trace the spirals with your eyes. See the fractals. You now have the tools to read that hidden blueprint. So the only question left is, now that you can see the code, what story is your garden telling you?